Hey everyone, this is Micaela Karlsen. I wanted to look at that research study we were just talking about in the last video a little bit more. The title's kind of exciting. They're comparing a low-carb diet with a calorie-restricted low-fat diet, and the outcomes are body weight and cardiovascular risk factors. So you may be interested in this because you eat a diet, and many people do want to lose weight, and we all want to live a long time. So as we already talked about, the diet they're calling low-fat actually has 30% of the calories from fat. This is a really good example of how you shouldn't just believe a headline or label. You should go and read the actual research paper and see what the people were actually eating. And then you can decide if you agree with the conclusions or not. A lot of times the researchers, because of their own perspective, may not be approaching the information the same way somebody else might who has a different context and a different set of experiences and knowledge to interpret with. The other thing is a lot of these research studies get reprinted in blogs and newspaper articles and magazines and online letters, and everything gets distorted. So in the end, it doesn't really look like the same information. So they found in this study, and remember this was only done over 6 months, that the women on the low carb diet lost more weight and more body fat than the low fat diet. So this is really interesting, and we want to know, what does this mean? I would also like to point out that the researchers are concluding that a very low carb diet is more effective than a low fat diet for short-term weight loss, and over 6 months it's not associated with any deleterious effects on cardiovascular risk factors. So what they're saying is in the short term it helps people lose weight and it's healthy. So we already know that we may not really agree with the label low fat, but I would like to see what these people were eating so we can kind of come to our own conclusions about what this means. The way that you find the full text article on PubMed is always up in the right-hand corner here, and a lot of these papers are not actually available for free with the full text online, but I'm going to show you some tricks in another video for how to find some of them that may not be available right away. This one, fortunately, is available for free. We can see the whole entire paper if we click on that link. And if we scroll down, what you'll see is Table 1 is always a description of the study participants. Figure 1 is how they kept them in the study. And here we go. So this is what I'm really interested in always. I want to see what people are actually eating on this diet. I wish that they reported the food groups that they were eating, but they don't, because I'd like to know if the low-fat diet group was eating sugar, white flour, fruit, like how were they achieving a low-fat dietary profile? I don't know. But I do want to point out that even though they're saying that basically both this diet is healthy, the very low-carb diet is healthy in the short term, they're really not eating enough fiber. So most Americans are not eating enough fiber, but these people were only eating 12 grams of fiber. And if you know anything about the fiber recommendation, they actually, people are supposed to be eating, over 25 grams. So this is the total fiber. These are the dietary reference intakes from the Institute of Medicine, and there are different recommendations for different ages and genders. And so for men, they're supposed to eat between 31 and 38 grams per day. For women, 26 to 21. If you're pregnant, you need more. Most Americans, unfortunately, don't meet this. However, this is kind of terrible. At baseline, these people were eating 12, and then at 6 months, they were actually eating a little bit less fiber than before. So this is definitely not within the range of the recommended intake. The low-fat group was also similar at baseline, and their own diet that was recommended by the researchers really didn't change much for them. So they too are like barely even getting half the fiber that they should. Fiber is a really important nutrient in long-term chronic disease risk, so even if this diet doesn't seem to have any ramifications in the short term, I wouldn't recommend it for more than 6 months anyway. That's all for today. I hope you'll remember to try and read the actual research papers and always look at the tables to see what people are actually eating in these studies.